Welcome to Credentialing Chronicles, where we spill the doctor tea hotter than your morning coffee.
And give you the insider scoop in the wild world of credentialing, provider drama, and everything they don't teach you in med school.
I'm Shannen, and she's Nyleen, two credentialing pros with front row seats to all the chaos.
From fraud scandals to burnout breakdowns and why your favorite surgeon might actually be banned from 5 hospitals.
We got the gossip and the practical advice to keep you out of trouble and ahead of the game.
So grab your coffee, your compliance checklist, and maybe a lawyer, and let's get into it.
Welcome back to another episode of Credentialing Chronicles. I'm Shannen, and as always, I'm joined by Nyleen, who has a real knack for diving into the wild world of credentialing mishaps.
Hey, Shannen. So excited to dive into today's topic as usual, because it's a big one that happens all the time and definitely sends chills down anyone's spine. But first, let's have our disclosure.
Of course, as always, the cases we will be sharing with you are all available through public court documents. We promise we are not sharing any privileged or private information, and we have never personally credentialed these practitioners. We will not release the names of the practitioner, but we will give you all the other juicy details.
This episode of Credentialing Chronicles is sponsored by Advanced Quality Compliance, your white glove credentialing crew. We get it. One person doing the work of 5, audit season looming, files all over the place. AQC steps in with expert hands and calm minds, digitizing your chaos, handling the details, and keeping you audit ready 24/7. Think less stress, more success with a touch of luxury. No stress, no mess. Just AQC white glove service. Visit aqccbo.com to get started.
Today we're talking about wrong site surgeries. I know you're the ambulatory surgery center professional, Nyleen. That's your name. So these must be terrifying for you to hear, right? I mean, for you to investigate these, I know you were just cringing out. Are you asking yourself, how could this happen? These kinds of mistakes? And I mean, I got to tell you, this is one of those topics that's like shocking and somehow, unfortunately, common.
Yes, super, super common. Let me tell you, working in surgery for the last 5 years, it's like, oh my goodness, how does this happen? But it happens so often. And that's why there's so many protocols in place. But anyway, the phrase wrong site surgery is one of those that you hear and you think, this can't really happen, right?
Yeah, well, never.
It does, though. And it's very common. It's more common than you might even think. I mean, I know people are probably picturing an episode of a medical drama or something, but
Grey's Anatomy,
Right. But like when it actually happens, it's a disaster. Let's give you a pretty scary story. Okay, Shannen, so listen to this. Okay. So there's this woman in the Midwest, and she's 53 years old. And the poor lady, right, she's been dealing with many strokes, okay? Her speech was affected, but she was still functional. She could care for herself, at least. So she was scheduled for brain surgery. And the brain surgery was supposed to prevent any more of her strokes. So they were supposed to do a craniotomy bypass, on the left side of her brain.
So this is like brain surgery for strokes, right? That sounds intense. And I hope nothing bad happened to this poor woman. I'm getting red just thinking about all the bad things that you're going to tell me.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely serious. Right? I mean, not that any surgery is not serious, but
Yeah, brain surgery is different kind of level though, Nyleen.
Right, true. But here's the kicker. So the neurosurgeon mistakenly operated on the wrong side of her brain.
No.
He did the right side. Yeah, he did the right side instead of the left. Can you imagine She woke up from surgery and she couldn't even speak. She totally lost her ability to communicate.
What? That's just heartbreaking. Please tell me somebody was held accountable.
Yeah, well, she was doing as well as someone with her condition could. She was still aware and still mobile and able to take care of herself before the surgery. But after surgery, everything changed. Now she needs 24/7 care for like even the basics, like getting dressed and eating. She's dealing with depression, anxiety, and of course, emotional distress.
Oh, that's just so sad and horrifying. Tell me what happened with the facility. I mean, did they report this doctor to the medical board?
Well, the family was outraged, obviously. They filed a medical malpractice lawsuit, right, against both the hospital and the surgeon. And it's so messed up because did you know that wrong site surgeries are considered a huge failure in the medical field? And it's something that should never happen, but yet it's just, a fallout. It's a mistake. Oops, we made a mistake. And the problem here was probably a lack of proper safety protocols or proper quality control, like double checking the right side of someone's brain. Before you're going in there, like we have to do so many checks in the OR. It's called a timeout for a reason.
Yeah. It's like, how does something like that even slip through, Nyleen? That's what I'm asking. I mean, it's not like you can just go back and fix a brain surgery, right? I mean, were they able to fix this?
Well, it's a total system failure, and hospitals are supposed to have all of these safeguards in place, like checklists before surgeries to ensure the right procedure happens on the right patient, on the right side, to the right organ. But apparently, this hospital may not have followed through with those guidelines, but it's a reminder that even the most serious never events can happen if we're just not careful enough.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like, this is so messed up. I mean, I'm hoping that she gets some type of justice, right?
You'd hope, right? Me too. It's just one of those situations where everything that could go wrong did go wrong, all because of one crucial mistake.
It's terrifying, honestly. The idea of having surgery done on the wrong part of my body. I mean, it just sounds like something out of a nightmare that I would never want. But statistics are there, like you're saying, and they're pretty alarming. I mean, I am alarmed.
Yes, so the Joint Commission. So for our patient listeners, the Joint Commission is one of the accrediting bodies, and it's a very popular one. It accredits all kinds of healthcare facilities, hospitals included. And this Joint Commission is really all about keeping healthcare facilities up to standard. And they call wrong site surgeries a never event, So something that should never happen.
Never. Okay.
Right. So did you know that more than 35% of those errors actually come from, guess what kind of doctor? Orthopedic surgeons. And, they're doing a lot of joints, So it's like orthopedic surgeons, 35% are making mistakes.
So orthopedic surgeons, those are the ones that involve the spines, the knees, the hips, you name it, right? So I could have a good hip and a bad hip and come out with two bad hips.
Pretty much.
Right? I mean, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. So, I'm nervous.
Right. So you're talking about surgeries where people's mobility is on the line. A tiny little misstep can lead to a lifetime of pain, or worse, even death, permanent problems, dismemberment, And yet, here we are seeing mistakes happen way more often than we'd like.
It's mind-blowing. My mind is blown. And you think with all the checks, because I mean, you've been in a surgery, right, Senator? I mean, isn't there like 1,000 checks, Nyleen? Because I think with 1,000 checks, we'd be safe.
Right. And the thing is we check so much that the patients really get frustrated. But it's like, check in. Right. Step number one, you ask the patient, what procedure are you having when you check in? Like literally front desk.
Okay.
Which one are you operating?
So the patient says my left knee.
Okay, great. We concern your left knee. Great.
Okay.
Then you go into pre-op. You go into pre-op. The pre-op nurse asks you, what side are you having operated on? My left knee.
And I'm going to say my left knee. Okay. Okay. Exactly. So where did we get the right one? Okay, go ahead. What else do we do?
Right. So then what happens is the surgeon will come and talk to you. And the surgeon comes and says, whoa, Mr. So-and-so, which knee are we operating on you? Great. We're doing my left
I'm going to say my left knee. Okay.
At that time, the appropriate procedure is that the surgeon marks the location of where he or she is operating. So the patients need to know that the markings are what's going to indicate the appropriate side that is being operated on. Correct. Okay. Then you have anesthesia come and visit you in the pre-op area. Okay. Hello, what side are we working on? Okay.
My left knee.
Yeah, left knee. A lot of times they are also involved with your circulator. So a circulator is the nurse in the operating room. So they're involved with the nurse in the operating room, and they work with the technicians, the surgical techs, to prepare the room for the surgery. So if the surgery was prepared for a left knee that matches your surgical consent, correct. Read your consents, patients. Read your consents. Left knee. Then the operating room, guess what? Everything has to be placed in the room for you to do a left knee. If it's the right knee, equipment is moved around. So everybody in the room before you enter the room has to know which side is being operated on, because equipment, monitors, tubing, supplies, everything go
on a certain side.
Correct.
Okay. Well, right now, Nyleen, everything you are telling me, I don't see how my left knee can be messed up. So show me where the crack comes, because I don't see it.
Crack comes when we rush. Or if, let's say, the case was scheduled as a right knee, patient comes in and says, what surgery are you having? And they say left knee. And then all of a sudden the surgery scheduler is scrambling. She's like, oh my God, I had right knee. And the operating room was prepped for the right knee. And then all of a sudden there's chaos ensuing and we need to hurry up. And the surgeon says, let's go. I need to get this person in the room. Oh, okay. Let's go. And yeah, we're going to do the right knee, right? Because right knee. And then the surgery scheduler forgot to change it from right to left. And then all of a sudden there's all this chaos happening because everybody's in a rush. And we get into the room, we do our timeout, and oh my God, what knee are we doing again? I don't remember. That's how it happens. So it comes down to human.
So you're telling me that happens, and 35% of the time, the people say, well, it's okay. Let's just go ahead and do the right knee. I mean,
I just don't know.
Oh my!
I just don't know. There are doctors that have not had this happen to them one time. They've been happening.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's several doctors.
Yeah.
I personally know. You can check their licenses and they've got 3, 4 wrong site surgeries. And guess what, guys? Heads up, wrong site surgeries do not cause a loss of your license. It can cause a sanction on your license. It can cause an action on your license. It can cause a reprimand on your license, but it's not an automatic, oh, you're going to lose your license. So
even though Joint Commission considers it a never event.
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
Okay.
Craziness.
Well, we see what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. So the results can be disastrous. You've got a surgeon performing the procedure on the wrong side of the body, or on the wrong organ, or on the wrong side of your brain, or on your wrong eye. And that can have life-altering consequences like it did for this lady. It's not just a minor slip-up. It's huge.
It sounds huge. I mean, it all boils down to human error, right? Like you said, I've never been in an OR, so I don't know that experience. But from how you just described it to me, you've got a team of people in the OR who ideally, right, should be all on the same page. But I guess sometimes, fatigue. I mean, we're all human, right? Distractions, like you said, miscommunications, throw a wrench in the work. I mean, I guess I could see, what you're saying. It's just kind of shocking that something like this happens. I mean, and it seems like, patient safety should be a top priority. But I get it. Surgery is a high pressure environment, and I've never been in that situation. So I have no comment and can only, listen to you and and really listen to the stories that we learn about. But I can see from those things that things move fast, and sometimes the pressure just gets to people, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And orthopedic surgeons, well, I work for the most amazing one. The thing is that orthopedic surgeons are very tense and very intense and like things to be done. And they're just about, getting it done. And sometimes a lot of surgeons can be a little hard to talk to and, have a little bit of a authority complex. But, here's something else that'll blow your mind. All right. Research shows that mistakes happen more often when there's a lack of focus or when people get complacent. For example, right? A surgeon might skip over that little extra step of marking the site properly because they're rushing to get to the next case. And so let's say the surgeon has 2 patients, one on the first bay and one on the second bay, and he's working both ORs, which means that while one OR is getting prepped and ready and with the patient, he'll go into the other surgery room, do the surgery, and then bounce back while that one's done, back and forth. And sometimes surgeons have assistants who'll go in and close the patient. So the patient doesn't necessarily stay just with the physician in the operating room so that the physician can go and jump from room to room. So imagine if it's not a different kind of case and it's a right knee and a left knee. So sometimes he's like, I already did that. I already marked that person. And then he got interrupted and got a phone call and then he got a text message and then something's going on with his kids or her kids. So there's a lot of things that happen and they just get complacent and you just get distracted. And for example, also that's how easy it is to happen that a wrong site surgery happens because they're rushing, they're moving, they're getting lost in what's kind of happening in the moment. And so that's the result.
It seems very possible that how things can happen. It just seems so unbelievable for the patient. And then what happens when the worst does happen, Nyleen? I imagine a lot of maybe lawsuits follow.
Absolutely. So once a wrong site surgery occurs, medical malpractice lawsuit is usually, the result of that. The patient or their family files a claim and then you're off to, the legal situation. And the whole process is long, stressful, and often involves a whole bunch of back and forth between the hospital or the center, the doctors, and the legal teams. But it's very important for patients to understand this is not handled in a criminal court of law. This is its own court system, its own set of attorneys, its own set of practice. It has absolutely nothing to do. This is not handled the same way a criminal charge would be handled. It's completely different because remember, doctors are practicing.
Yeah. And that's got to be brutal for everybody involved, especially the patient. I mean, they're already going through a traumatic experience, Nyleen, right? This just happened. I've come out with 2 bad knees, but it's also a wake-up call for hospitals. It forces them to reevaluate their procedural systems, their credentialing systems, their review systems when things do happen, right?
Exactly. And here's the thing. Guess what, guys? Credentialing plays an enormous part in all of this because we are evaluating and keeping track of all of this information throughout the time that a physician has privileges at a facility. Surgeons, doctors, and other medical professionals are supposed to be thoroughly vetted, trained, and evaluated before they step foot in an OR. But when those procedures aren't followed to the letter, or when doctors aren't properly credentialed for certain procedures, that's when things can go sideways. And I'm telling you, Shannon, I have seen it with my own 2 eyes. There are places out there in the United States of America that do not have privileges set for doctors. People are randomly just walking into ORs. Hey, I'm a back doctor. I can do operations on your back. Never checked if they've ever done this procedure somewhere. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, guys. And what's terrifying is I've spoken to OR nurses, our OR nurses that are listening, our friends, our lovely ladies and men that work in this sacred environment. If you don't know how to look up a surgeon's privileges, please stop and ask. Go find where your medical staff department is and double check that you know exactly what procedures the doctors that are walking into your OR can and cannot do. That is your sacred space and your license on the line. So please, you can be sued and be reported just as much as every other personnel and during that OR or during that never event. And so you want to make sure that you are aware of everything that is going on and what is allowed and not to do. If you don't feel comfortable that a surgeon, you have the right to say, hey guys, wait a minute. Do whatever you need to do. We need your help in protecting our patients.
I mean, definitely. And I agree with you 100,000%, Nyleen. Credentialing ensures that only qualified professionals are doing the work that's required. A lot of times the AAAHC will go into a surgery center and they don't have nothing in place, honey.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
it's, it's one of the things that and they say, oh, you need this, you need that. And then they're scrambling, looking for something, what do I collect? How do I credential? And so a lot of those things what Nyleen is talking about are happening every day as of today. So if a doctor is performing a surgery outside of their specialty, or if they're not up to date on the latest procedures, that's a red flag, credentialing people. And I know in surgery centers, sometimes, Nyleen, it's like a nurse doing the credentialing files because they have people doing double task, right? Yeah.
Spot on.
And nurses aren't credentialers,
No. Trust me, just as much as I don't want to touch people's feet or put an IV in, because I'm not a nurse, a nurse does not want to do paperwork and does not want to do credentialing. So there's a reason why we have different roles and different responsibilities within a facility, whether you're at a surgery center or a hospital. And this is not just for the doctor, but it really is the entire hospital. Credentialing isn't just about, checking off boxes on a form. It's about protecting the patient and ensuring that the people performing these high stakes procedures have the knowledge and the skill to do them safely.
Yes. And yet time and time again, we'll see mishaps that could have been prevented with better credentialing and a more thorough venting process.
And I can't tell you how many times I've seen instances where someone was allowed to operate without the proper credentials, or worse, even after a lapse in their training or experience. When hospitals don't stay on top of this, they really are putting their patients at risk.
It's kind of scary when you think about it, because if credentialing processes are skipped or compromised, it's not just a mistaken judgment, it's putting someone's life in danger. That's why we always go back to patient safety. One of the resources that we will put in today's episode is also the NAMS question forum. So if you work in a credentialing office, and even if you're really not, don't have the certification and stuff, you can always get into those NAMS question forums. And there's a lot of experienced, amazing medical staff professionals for the new people out there that can answer a question. Hey, what does this mean? What does a procedure mean? There's also Facebook group about credentialing. So the resources are out there. You just really have to seek it, because I know sometimes, like me and Nyleen are saying, people are put in a situation to credential and they might not know exactly what that means. And if the doctor says, oh, just collect the license and the DEA, and you think that that's all it is. Nyleen, right? Help me. You're my compliance expert, Nyleen. I always have to go through you.
No, absolutely. And it's not just a formality. And we really need to talk about these stories so that we can learn from them and they don't happen again. The more we talk about credentialing and these medical errors, the better we can make the system for everyone involved. Patients, don't get frustrated, please. And doctors, you can get in a lot of trouble for doing a procedure that you're not qualified or do not have the privilege to perform. Protect yourself. It's just insane. We need to continue to talk about this, get informed, and tell everybody what the wonderful job of MSPs is throughout the United States.
MSPs, we love MSPs. Sorry, I had to sing it, Nyleen. It actually comes down to the patient safety. And at the end of the day, that's what the MSPs think about. They think about the provider and all that the provider has to going on and what they're doing and how qualified they are, all the way down to how that affects the patient safety. And that's what this job of credentialing is. It is looking at that scope of a provider's practice, whether it's a mental health provider, a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a dentist, a podiatrist, anybody, and we're looking and saying, are they going to be safe with the patients? Have they been safe with the patients? And to be honest, at the end of the day, it's all about making sure that our healthcare system is safe, efficient, and accountable.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself, Shannen. We've got a long way to go, but every conversation, every story brings us a step closer to better healthcare.
Exactly. And so we're just going to put on our PSA today for patients. Okay. I'll take the patients today. Really, we just want to make sure, put your Google alerts on all of your doctors, no matter who they are, put a Google alert. Then every time something happens, they'll come up to you. It's in the news. It'll come on you and alert you. Make sure that you verify your doctors. Make sure that if you feel uncomfortable or if you know that you're in there for a right knee and somebody actually is talking about a left knee, I'd say, can we take a pause, talk about what knee, maybe get an x-ray, okay? I mean, what would you say, Nyleen?
Absolutely. Patients, do not get frustrated. MSPs, when you're looking at that reappointment cycle, talk to that peer review nurse and ensure that you have all that information as part of the reappointment process. And then doctors, come on. Slow it down. We love you surgeons and everything because we really need you and we really appreciate you, but just slow it down. And we don't want you to get those actions on your license. We don't have to have you be reported to the board, but we can find out. Just close on your application, if you get a lawsuit. And we understand you make mistakes, but we really want you to just take a minute, make sure you're writing it down, and everybody is involved. Do your timeouts appropriately, follow the protocols. And for all of you that are listening, so timeout. So a timeout is when everybody in the operating room stops and says, okay, this is Mr. So-and-so is having this procedure. This is the side. This is what is planned. And they go over everything and everybody has to stop that's in the room to go over it. So I just wanted to have that terminology so everybody knows what I'm talking about. And this can happen multiple times in the operating room. So it's just really, really important. There's so much going on, patients, that you're not aware of when you're asleep. We know that you're at your most vulnerable. So I've had patients even say they write on the wrong knee, do not operate on this. I mean, all kinds of really fun stuff.
Good idea. I'd like to just put a little tad bit because I love credentialing. It has been very good to me in all my 25 years. Case logs. I know it's something that we all hate to ask for, but when you're looking into can the provider do this, case logs are your best friend. Because they're going to show you how many times that provider's done it. And then with your hospital verification and that case log, good standing, all these cases, okay, it's checking and balancing. But I just wanted to make sure that I added that in there, Nyleen, because I remember when I did hospital and FQHC credentialing in corporate America, that was something. And again, I do CVO credentialing now, but a lot of our clients require case logs in their file for it to be complete.
Absolutely. It should be 100% required everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. So, hey, guys, if you're fired up over this episode and worried about getting a wrong site, you want to make sure, do us a favor, follow, subscribe, and leave us a review on any of your podcast platforms.
And everywhere. Leave us a review everywhere. Go to everyone and leave us a review if you love us, because we are just getting started exposing these scandals. And honey, we need you to help us spread this word.
So make sure to catch us on all your favorite Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. And we want to make sure you keep on point, keep sharing, keep spreading the word. We're going to keep teaching you guys what happens behind the scenes. So thank you so much for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next time for more Credentialing Chronicles. Stay safe, stay smart, and keep asking all those tough questions.
Yeah, see you next time. Whoo, that was a lot of tea. Who knew doctors had more drama than reality TV?
And if you think that was wild, just wait till next week. We've got more stories, more scandals, and more credentialing chaos coming your way.
Hit that follow button, and don't forget, just because they have an MD doesn't mean they have a clean record.
See you next time on Credentialing Chronicles. Stay credentialed, not canceled.